Greetings, Raider Nation, and welcome to the Raider Nation podcast. And I'm your host, Raider Greg, welcoming you to show number 66. And for all you football junkies just like me, this is the end of a season, and I know you're gearing up for the Super Bowl. Whether you want to see it or not, this is the last football game of the season. And until then, the drought happens until next preseason games start to unfold. So, Raider fans, I just want to have some time here to talk about the Super Bowl, since it is kind of the big media event that's happening, and all the, somebody's hair is long or beard is long, or somebody's mother is doing something special, and all those lovely little stories that I certainly can't compete with. I will say one thing. The Super Bowl 40 will be won by the Pittsburgh Steelers, the AFC champions, because the AFC dominated the NFC this year once again, and it'll be a one-sided game, and that's all I can say about that. Because the Raiders aren't in it, and that's true, and that's exactly that. So we got some shouts out to Raider fans, and especially Raider Nation podcast fans, and I want to thank Raider Matt for commenting. And Raider Matt comes in hard with 2 days after Mike Martz was interviewed, he pulled his name from consideration from the Oakland Raiders. Yes, he did. And he was hired by the Detroit Lions staff as an offensive coordinator. And guess what? Just today, he quit. He quit, and he cited something ridiculous like he couldn't play for some kind of financial reasons. So in other words, I think the Lions were trying to get off cheap, just like I said before about how Al Davis could get off cheap. I think Martz is caught between a rock and a hard place, and this just shows how finicky this guy is, and maybe we didn't need him in Oakland. So I'm kind of glad we didn't get him now, because he's showing his colors by making a commitment to a team and then backing out. Who wants someone like that running their offense? Certainly not me, and I'm sure the rest of the Raider Nations would agree. Thank you, Matt, for your comment. Okay, here's a comment from The Assassin. I like that name, The Assassin, TJ Walsh. He talks about Jay Glazer as the asshole of the day. Well, I do think Jay Glazer does merit some assholeness because of his inside scoop, talking about the Oakland Raiders turning down good coaches, and how Peyton and Denny Green. Well, Denny Green went to Arizona, for crying out. What a great thing that was. He's still having fun over there, I bet you. And Sean Payton, did he ever get the offering of the job? I don't think so either. So he talks about, Jay Glazer talks about how the problem is Al Davis, and I agree with you, The Assassin, that that's bullshit, because Al Davis is the Raiders. He's always been the Raiders. He's not the problem if you consider all the championships that we have won in the tenure that he's been the owner. So, Jay Glazer, you're an asshole, but you're not an asshole this month. Thank you, Assassin. Great one coming in. Okay, here's another one by Nick. Raider Nick. Gannon was good, and he misses Gruden. And I agree. My last podcast was about Gruden because I just was watching him on TV in an interview, flipping out that he wasn't our coach. And he talks about some things here on the comments section about how Gruden did hire players that had leadership qualities. Wheatley, Gannon, Bryson Brown, Armstrong, Thomas Beekert, Alan Woodson. There's a lot of players in the league. There's a lot of players that are young. There's a lot of players, but there's not a lot of leaders. And Gruden hired people that were self-motivated and leaders and passionate about the game. And that's where he could coach and let the rest of the things happen in the locker room, which is a good thing. I'm sure that was part of it too, and that's a great take. And thank you so much for your comment, Nick. Raider Dave comes in, coaching in the NFL. Now, he comes in strong with there's been too many shitty coaches for the Raiders in the last 20 years, minus Gruden and Shell. But he goes on to say, how bad it's been for the Raiders in the coaching situation when you have coaches like Norv Turner. He's a clone of Dave Wannstedt, which I would certainly agree on. And Nick Saban went down there and proved things, went to 9-7 with Gus Frerotte. I think that with our new coach, and I'm positive we're going to get a new coach, and I'll go over that in one of the stories tonight, that this will clean up. And he says keep the hope, and I too agree. Keep the hope, because we have a lot of hope that we should have, Raider Nation, because there are good things coming our way. The Raiders, as before, are in a slump right now, but we got to come up, and we're going to come up with an owner like Al Davis. We have nothing better. We have nothing to do but get better. I already talked about Martz. What a fickle guy he is, because he did pull his name out of the hat for the Lions job. So who knows? Maybe he'll sit on his couch this year. Maybe that'll happen. Okay, we're going to talk about the show. Today's show is about Ray Ratto is victorious as the asshole of the 05 season, and I'll tell you guys why. I shouldn't have to, but I will remind everyone of all the wonderful articles that Ray Ratto has written in the 05 season about our Oakland Raiders. John Madden is the Hall of Fame because he has represented the NFL. Also, a reason for the 06 Raiders to have hope. And not like the Raider Nation needs hope, because the Raiders live perpetually on hope. Every season we think we might be doing something, and it's one of the things that's wonderful about being a Raider fan, because the trait is Raider Nation-wide, and that's for sure. Okay, our first story of the evening would be Ray Ratto, again, and I want to say again in a capital A, has shown his disdain or his hatred or his obsession with trying to punk the Raiders every move. He tried to punk the Raider fans first. That was one of those first articles last season that I found, and I named him Asshole of the Month. It was a very good article. It was an article about how the Raiders fans are thugs and how we're classless and how you can't wear your colors if you go there. And it went on and on about other things, mainly about the fan himself and the Coliseum and how horrible it was. He just went on and on and on. He likes to hear himself right, I'm sure, and that's how Ray Ratto is. And when he went off on the fans, I just had to tell him. And in that time when I named him Asshole of the Week then, I said that Ray Ratto, hopefully you can come over to the Oakland Raiders and the Coliseum and see some of the Raider fans, because there's doctors, lawyers, mothers, fathers, children, and I'm sure they would all love to embrace you as a fan. Yeah, embrace you with the lead pipe. Okay, so once he tried to punk the Raider Nation, another time he tried to imply that Al Sanders was offered the job as head coach of the Raiders, and wrong! He wasn't offered the coaching job or the head coach job of the Raiders. Al Davis never said it, the Raider Nation, the Raiders never said it, and nobody else said it. It wasn't confirmed in any way, shape, or form. Once again, Ray Ratto taking the job a little bit not serious enough, because you got to get your facts straight. Ray, I have trouble with people named Ray. Yet another article was on how Al Davis has always been the head coach. No matter who's coaching the Raiders, Al Davis needs to be the head coach, because nobody can run a team like Al Davis, and he starts blaming Al Davis for the poor performance. But he wouldn't acknowledge Al Davis, of course, for the great season in coaching, 3 AFC championships in a row just recently, if we can all remember, in a trip to the Super Bowl. From Madden to Gruden, his implication was they all were Al Davis, and I think that's bullshit, Ray. I seem to have a problem with Rays, because like Charger Ray from Boltcast, I had to go off on Ray Charger Ray from Boltcast if you guys listen to that one. Okay, Ray Ratto's latest rag paper, calling our new coach the new scapegoat, and is also twisting what Ken Whisenhunt said. Now, I think Ken Whisenhunt's going to be our head coach, and I think that he should be, and he has all the things that I think are necessary in a coach. I hope he gets the job and gets an opportunity to take the Raiders to another championship. Now, he's been saying, Ken Whisenhunt, he's implying that he doesn't want the job, which is kind of stupid considering what he really said was that he couldn't comment on it and that it was against the league rules and they prohibited such things. But unlike Ray Ratto, Ray Geeko didn't say he didn't say the rest of the comments that Ken Whisenhunt said, which was this. As a coach in the NFL, you got to take advantage of every opportunity you have to coach a team. There are only 32 jobs here, and that makes them extremely valuable. So taking that into, well, once again, Ray, you are an asshole of the week, and because I don't like that article either, because you're very biased, very long on opinion, and very short on fact, just like you've been on before, and forgetting the coveted prize of 3 times you've been asshole of the week. You've captured the official Asshole of the Year award. And you can come by my house anytime, 24 hours a day. You can pick it up if you dare, because I'll give you the bonus plan, which are 2 black eyes to take home with you. You can place this trophy right in the middle of your 49er shrine, I'm sure located somewhere near the living room of your house, next to your bobblehead of Jerry Rice and Joe Montana. Bada bing. There you go. Ray Ratto, enough about you. Okay, going on to John Madden. Who doesn't love John Madden? I don't know anybody who loves football that doesn't love John Madden. They love to either hate him or they love to love him. They love to comment on his comments and how silly they are. They love to make fun of the things he says because they're so simple. But what about that I understand to be true is, because they're so simple, they encompass everyone. They bring everybody into the NFL, and he's been a spokesperson for this league for way long time, many years. At the age of 32, he took control of a team, a bunch of party machines, and turned them into champions. 7 division championships, a record of 103, 32-7, 9-for-7 mark in the playoffs. He is a Hall of Famer, period. As Al Davis said recently, John Madden should take his place in the sun this week. One of the greatest virtues that he has is a fire that burns in him for football. It is time he took his rightful place in the Hall of Fame. He brings an excellence to that no one can deny, and that's absolutely true. John Madden and his excellence, 10 years, Raider head coach. You heard the record on his season. An excellent coach. And no, it wasn't Al Davis doing it all by himself. Along with all that, John Madden has been the voice of pro football for years and has represented it with class and a great sense of humor, which brings people into the league and created one of the best, most popular sports in the world. Good luck, John, because we here at the Raider Nation know that you belong in the Hall of Fame. And one more thing, what's up with you, Timmy Brown? I've sung your praises before, but this kind of crap that you're talking about here just flips me out when players say things that they don't know nothing about, or they say things that come off the top of their head. I know Tim Brown is in the NFL. I know that he has contact with old Raider fans, but here's what he said. In a statement to the press, some of the older players say that they could have won more Super Bowls if not for John Madden. Brown was still packing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to school when John Madden was having winning seasons. What's up with that, Timmy B? I don't know, man, but it doesn't sound very good to me. So I hope you get it together and stop calling on another brother Raider for him not getting into the Hall of Fame, trying to make it sound like he's not worthy. You better take a look at the stats and back off, because you're talking about somebody here that's greatly loved by the Raider Nation and was here long before you'd started catching passes here. Okay, the next story. Raiders, have hope. Have hope, man, because we're coming up. And I know I don't have to say this, and I know the nation has hope anyway, and everything that we possibly can get as far as our new players, we have hope that they'll be great. Every time we sign somebody, the hope is there because the fans here at the Raider Nation are awesome. The Raider Nation is awesome. We have the best fans in football, and it just shows in the hope and passion we have for our team. And I don't have to say that. That's just the way it is. Every time I run into a Raider fan, it's that way. But I want to give you some reasons why we should have hope, because we should. One thing is just look at our season. There were shining moments of greatness and possibilities. The defense, the offense, even with Kerry Collins at times showed light in a room full of darkness at times. Okay? Now, just wait a second. I know the 2005 was the same way. You know, we filled our heads with thoughts of 30 and 35 point per game totals. Our offense would be awesome, perhaps even a division title, and all that came down to nothing. Even with Moss and then Porter signing again, the Jordan train happening. But 4-12 is where we can up. That's what happened. Whatever. What can I say? I know it's too early to predict 06, but I can't help it. I can't help it looking at what the possibilities could be. Let's look at it first. The defense has shown marked improvement this season and will continue to show marked improvement with players like Derek Gibson coming back and Warren Sapp as well. However, Sapp might be traded for cap room so we can get some young strapping defensive tackle in there. This is one of my hopes. We need it because we're desperately under the cap. But the 2005 sack leader, Derek Burgess, should come in big time. Stuart Schwaggart showed moments of brilliance, and he will just continue to get better along with Ronaldo Hill. So with Ronaldo Hill back there, and let's not pretend Washington because he's out there too. So you have to think. Now, that's our defense, and our defense will do nothing but get better because the Bear, Ryan, the Bob Ryan, or Rob Ryan as we like to call him, is there. He's got a consistency. His defense is going to play another season underneath them, which I think is a very cool thing. It's a good thing. Now, Charles Woodson will probably be gone, which is a real good thing, too, because I hate to cut him loose because he showed so many promising times, but then, you know what, I don't think he's strong enough, and I think he's lazy at times. So he is the best tackler that we have on our team, but I believe he's gone, and but he did force some of the rookies to step up, and it's pretty cool to see that they did a pretty good job of holding things together. So the defense can do better. Robert Gallery and Jake Grove, I hope they take Gallery and send him to the left. Grove and Gallery are both drafted fairly recently, and I hope they get rid of Barry Sims because he was a terrible position player, and he let a lot of people out and around the outside of him. So we need to get rid of him, get somebody young to come in here, and that'll improve a lot of that area as far as our offensive line problem was last season. Let's get down to something that everybody's been talking about in this whole season from the beginning till now. Discipline. Discipline is a huge issue in the locker room, and we have professional sports players that make millions of dollars. You need to control discipline, and it's a very tough thing to do. Now, I think either Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator Ken Whisenhunt, which is my vote, or even Seahawks coordinator Gil Haskell, both offer the Raiders a really good opportunity because both, one, the Seahawks under Holmgren, who preaches discipline daily, and also the Pittsburgh Steelers, insane disciplinarian Bill Cowher. So both of them teach discipline and a proven method to transmit that to their players. This alone creates an atmosphere in a locker room that breeds winning. And I think this is an opportunity for the Oakland Raiders to start to improve. Now, I'm not saying anything about total winning seasons. I'm not saying anything about how we're going to go to the Super Bowl next year. But I will say this. Our average points per game, our yards on defense defended, interceptions, tackles, everything in every category will improve, including, and I hope, the exit of Kerry Collins with a new quarterback, who knows who, perhaps Culpepper or perhaps Carr from the Houston Texans. Either way, As long as Collins is out of here, I'm happy with that. Our team will have an opportunity to shine again. Once again, you could be proud to wear your silver and black, making things happen, and come to the games and cheer on and see the crowd go into a frenzy when we come out with victories. Well, that's about it, Raider fans. This is Raider Greg from the Raider Nation podcast, reminding you too to hit the Frapper menu, get on Frapper, slip your picture in there, and let the Raider Nation podcast and all of the Raider Nation see who you are, and put a little phrase in there and see who you want to be. Get on that Frapper map. Also vote Podcast Alley, keeping us in the top 5 in the sports category for almost a full year. You guys are awesome, and thank you so much. This is Raider Greg. Remember, get your Raider fix here at the Raider Nation podcast. I am out.